Are we all getting a little bit carried away with health foods? I mean, 11 million results for the search term superfoods would suggest so. So just what foods do not deserve their health halo? I actually asked numerous experts and authorities in the nutrition space what they felt were the most overrated health foods right now. And 3 people that I highly respect all said that butter was the most overrated health food, or they said that bulletproof coffee was the most overrated health food, which is essentially when you put butter in your coffee. Just how could that be healthy? Let's start with butter and why it does not deserve its health halo. It's been all over the media lately. Eat butter. Stop worrying about cholesterol. Fat is back. We now see that butter isn't so bad after all, and the healthiness of margarine was oversold really. And you know what? I agree. I think butter is probably healthier than margarine, and it's not the dietary demon that we once thought. But just because butter is better than margarine doesn't then make butter healthy. Butter is still an isolated fat that provides astoundingly little nutrition relative to its energy density. So the trade-off of nutrients for calories is really a really bad deal. Saying that butter is healthy because it's better than margarine is like comparing honey with sugar. Honey has some trace nutrients and compounds that arguably make it a better choice than table sugar, but that doesn't mean honey is healthy. It just means that honey is better than table sugar. Smoking menthol cigarettes may be better than smoking regular cigarettes, but it's still not good for you. Butter may be better than margarine, but in the end, it's still additional fat and still additional calories. Okay, so what if you're not worried about the excess calories? What's the problem with butter then? Well, if we look at it from a nutrition science point of view, a high intake of butter can negatively affect the ratio of lipoproteins in your blood, which increases your risk of heart disease. And it's not the saturated fat in butter that we're worried about, which is no longer thought of as a direct cause of heart disease. The problem with butter is that it's low in milk fat globule membrane. This protective membrane encloses the fatty acids in high-fat dairy products, such as cream, which in turn seems to reduce the cholesterol-raising effects of its fatty acids. Now, butter is just cream that has been churned, and the churning process destroys much of this membrane. The result is that butter can increase the amount of LDL particles in your bloodstream, which are a really strong predictor of cardiovascular disease. And every expert can agree on that fact. Okay, so how do we know this is actually the case though? Well, there has been a lot of studies on it. And the very latest one out of Sweden, which I first came across on the membership site Science of Diet, found that dairy fat from butter raised some heart disease risk factors much more than dairy fat from cream. Now, to test this, the researchers randomly assigned 57 overweight men and women to consume either 40 grams of milk fat as whipped cream per day or 40 grams as butter for an 8-week period. And as expected, the LDL particle number of the butter group shot up significantly more than the cream group. Now, for this reason, our portions of butter intake need to be carefully monitored. No one actually knows what happens when you consume large amounts of butter over long periods of time, such as if you're adding sticks of butter to your coffee every morning. Even for those who subscribe to the ancestral or all-natural nutrition approach, having butter several times per day is much more than we ever would have had throughout our evolution. So what should we be eating instead? Well, extra virgin olive oil should always be your go-to cooking oil, or oil in general. That's not to say you can't use butter. I use butter quite often in cooking, especially if I cook eggs because they taste amazing. But if you're eating butter or more butter to be healthy, then you've been duped. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up and I'll see you next time.